Welcome back, Rage Nation. Got myself Pete here.
That's not really exciting.
You got Senior Dixon.
I don't think that's appropriate.
And we got Monsieur Leopard.
Explorers deserved it. No.
Absolutely.
I was disgusted. I cannot believe they've done this.
Why is wacky? Why is that good? It's just nonsense.
I disagree on that. That's not possible.
We're getting the band back together. We're on a mission. Yeah.
Now we've got a whole new list of things to complain about.
Welcome back, Rage Nation. We are at it again. Got myself Pete here, and we are going back on the pitch. We are doing another Guild Ball episode, trying to do at least one, maybe two Guild Ball episodes a month, depending on how much content we can crank out with that. But today we're actually going to talk about something that a lot of people got excited about before even the game kind of went south. And we're going to talk about Lamplighters because the Guild Ball community project actually cooked up some rules and baked some models, and I don't know a lot about them because they're alchemist kind of based, and that's not my play style. So I got Michael on here to talk to me about the Lamplighters. So how you doing, Michael?
I'm doing actually really great. I just finished a game on Basel with Phil from France. So my morning has been Guild Ball, and now more Guild Ball.
What did you play in that game?
So that was Corbelli Masons into Steeljaw Hunters.
Oof. So is Steeljaw as rough as people are saying she is? I haven't played her since kind of coming back to this, so I don't know if she is.
I mean, when Steeljaw was released, one of my locals, Ghostier, Nate Horn, was at the time one of the number one rated Hunters players in the world, and the way he piloted Steeljaw was just an absolute
brutal.
Like it was, like he was also saying like Steeljaw should not exist, but Steeljaw does exist, and everyone should just learn how to play better. But and then Steeljaw sort of existed for a little bit, and then I think it was like in the first or second probably the first community update where they were like, all right, one thing we need to change is her bait character play, because it was 6 inches around her targeting any models, and she didn't have to roll to cast because it was target self. Yeah. They changed it to you place an AoE sort of like farmers, and then you put traps inside within that AoE.
Okay. And
then you roll to hit models, and if the models hit, it suffers a push.
Okay.
So she got toned down slightly, but it's like, but still like the people who are still playing her are like the good players. So, it's a little bit more manageable. Personally, I think one thing they should do is at the start of deployment, choose one effect for the traps and then keep that for the rest of the game. Because currently she gives out weak point and snare.
It's pretty good.
For weak point and bleed.
Still pretty good.
Yeah. So it's like, hey, you take a damage, you take snare, which is a defense debuff, and you get weak point in case you had armor, which is another debuff. And so, you've taken -2 to your defense stats. And also, if you don't have enough momentum or a way to clear conditions, you're going to get bleed for 3 damage at the end of the turn.
So what has it been like for you? Because I think you've been playing pretty much even before Steamforged re-announced that the game was, the models were being put back out there for the community. So kind of give me an idea from somebody who's been playing Guild Ball, at least here and there, how kind of like things dramatically changed once Steamforged kind of made that announcement.
In my Guild Ball journey, I was doing 30 consecutive Brewers games. And I was like on, because that was, the badges on Longshanks at the time. Oh, yeah. So, and I was on like game four of Brewers when the Pandini started back in March 2020. and at the time, and that's when I started actually learning how to play on Vassal and sit and like my experience in terms of like what people do play on Vassal, they they do play a lot more of these sort of mechanical guilds of like where it's like I can be measuring out the individual steps and be like, all right, I know for sure my exact distance for everything.
Yeah.
I've been so it seems to me like the people that I played against were like very much sort of like, I'm going to be going for more 3-0 or 2-2 play
Yeah.
styles, even if my guild, might be struggling to get one of those selections. But it's like it just so happens that because, we're now okay, I measure everything out and I can know perfectly like what my threat distance is, what my every interaction I do, every result I make can be like, I'm going to dodge exactly 1 inch and then exactly 2 inches, and now I'm in the goal threat.
Yeah.
Where it's like, you kind of might be doing some gimmies if you were playing in real life.
Yeah, and I've talked to a few people that since Steamforge made the announcement of like, hey, we're going to print this stuff off. I know I think the Discord for the Guild Ball community has been a lot more active, and even just people asking me about the game that I just know through other things have been very, very excited that the game's kind of at least being somewhat supported, so they can get. And plus, people that have been playing have loved it because now they can actually get models that they've been struggling to find off the internet.
Oh yeah, there's a joke in my community. Like I tried to be in my community, so San Francisco.
Mhm.
I tried to be like, hey, I found cool stuff, but at that time everyone already had everything and
Yeah.
like already had all their toys and widgets that they liked. And when I started traveling to like Wisconsin particularly and Southern California, Orange County, where Octave and his crew is, I started being like, oh, you guys don't like you guys might have all the models, but like you guys are all like, well, we kind of just like the extra gubbins that we like. And so
Yeah.
I like I don't want to reveal how much I spent, but I spent all over $2,500 over
Over that time.
2 years, over 2 years of being like, I'm getting custom acrylic stuff printed and
Yeah.
cut and MDF like paint holders and stuff to just be like, hey, swag.
Yeah. And
And
I think
then
that's definitely something that was, I can't imagine how much harder it was when, Guild Ball's not being supported. But, now I'm hoping that now that they got that going and they see people, the amount of people that are going to hopefully buy this stuff that they're able to print, I'm hoping that'll let them, maybe put some of that licensing back out so we can get more like widgets and stuff to keep the game kind of growing.
oh yeah, no, I I really loved because when I first started playing it, like I would spend a lot of time, sort of just trying to burn time at work, being like
Yeah.
searching up like people who would do custom stuff just for like war games and be like, oh hey, could this be like a Guild Ball thing? Could be like
Yep.
it got to the it got to the point where I reached out to someone in Canada, and I had him made over 2,500, or no, not thousand. That's too much. That's an order of magnitude wrong. 250 custom ball tokens
Nice.
out of that he sculpted, um, and that costs a pretty penny. But and like unfortunately, like as soon as he messaged me saying that they're done and they're finishing curing, and I paid and I did the final payment. That was March 15th, 2020. So
Yeah.
like the day before national lockdown started,
Yeah.
and so I was so crushed because there was a local convention called KublaCon that was going to be
I've heard of it.
held. that was going to be held, I think, like in 2 weeks after that. And it was like, and I like, messaged, the coordinators, and I was like, hey, I want to be doing 3 Guild Ball events at this thing. And this was going to be, part of the swag bags that I would give out. And I just got so crushed. I was just like,
Yeah.
no, all my hard work.
Yeah, Spring Fling got canceled that year, and the cool thing about it, and kind of Nick Westbrook, my buddy from Texas, we were at Captain Con, and I actually gave him a demo just using Malifaux models. I was like, all right, we're going to use Malifaux models. This will be, the brewers, that'll be that. And it was just nice to be able to point to, be like, yeah, you can go find like a deal on eBay or something, but you can print. And I don't know about you, but I thought the print on demand prices are actually pretty reasonable for a 6, person crew.
A 6-person crew, or you get the 3 model bench, which is, I think, converted was about $16, which is like, it's almost the price of like a single metal blister when they were,
when they were being sold that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like, or like when they were doing, third captain blisters and free city draft blisters, in resin, like I think those were about $14-15.
Yeah. And I mean, I was able to get the entire engineers like guild and the miner guild for, I think I only spent like $160 for all that. So I felt pretty great about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But we are going to go ahead and get into these Lamplighters. So I know Alchemist players kind of, even before the community, decided to build this up, this was kind of like the almost like, secret everybody knew about. Everybody knew that sometime Lamplighters were going to be a thing because they were in the lore. I think one of the devs talked about how they really liked the idea of it. So just kind of the background, like what is the idea of this guild? How do they kind of operate on the pitch, generally speaking?
So I also just want to like specifically say, like, the community project, they did a Kickstarter for the physical sculpts and art design for this guild, and I was a backer on that. So I want to say that first, to make sure people know.
And the models look great. I actually had a friend print them off for me, and they look really cool. Especially the ladder dude. That dude's awesome.
Yeah, I think I showed you on like our personal chat where I was like, well, I magnetized the face of his lamp so his smoke can be put on, put off when I carry him in my phone bag. Yep. So the alchemists are at heart, they're a 3-0 guild. They have like 2 of the best sort of striker models of just like grab the ball, go score a goal.
Yep.
They can go 2-2. It's historically, for me, possibly it's a skill issue. Most definitely it's a skill issue. I've really struggled doing the 2-2. But if you're in the Guild Ball Discord, and you search up the biggest bomb, that's my crowning achievement, which was, I did enough damage with one of these with phosphor that I caused 4 models to explode from damage. Nice. Where one model died, it caused 3 damage AoE burst like Flask does in original Alchemist. That caused another model to die. That model exploded and caused 3 damage, which caused one of my models to die and caused another 3 damage. So it was a grand total of 4 takeouts, but almost 12 points of damage was via people dying and then exploding.
Yeah, and I played them yesterday just to kind of get a feel for them. And I will say I almost got a 2-2 game. My opponent was the problem is I feel like they are a little squishy, so you don't have the attrition to try and like, mash it out in the middle. And I was playing against Divana and her Falconer crap. So the Harriers were just blowing up models. And basically the Falconers got to 2-2 before I could. I was pretty close, but just didn't quite have the attrition for it.
Yeah. For me, their failure, or not failure, but their difficulty in going 2-2 is not their sort of defensive squishiness. Yeah. It's more of like, a lot of it, unfortunately, is on Beacon, the ladder dude. He's difficult to work with. I'm not gonna lie. Like it took me months of trying to figure out how to play him because
Yeah.
he's hard.
Well, and
Um,
I find that kind of the guild has this theme of playing with the burning condition. So you get kind of like these benefits from being burning, and you can also
yeah,
remove the burning to get other benefits. So it's kind of like this juggling thing of like, okay, I want to be on fire, but it also reduces my move, so I don't want to be on fire that long. So
yeah,
it's kind of a trick, right? Like you got to balance.
yeah. And then also, like, one of the fundamental rules of Guild Ball is, if you clear conditions with momentum, it clears all the conditions.
Yeah.
So you can't be like, I'm snared and on fire, and and I'm also poisoned just for the heck of it because I'm playing against someone, and it's like I only want to clear the snare condition, but if I spend momentum, I clear all my conditions, and then my bonuses from being on fire turn off. So then I either have to spend an influence to set myself again on fire, which means that I've not done the three actions that I wanted.
Yep. Yeah, and that's kind of the thing that I saw. And you do have some cool kind of pieces that want to punch, but I feel like they're also just really good at striking. So I think you could bring some pieces to really make this where you can just slap 3 goals in pretty quick.
Yep. With Wick and Nightlight, it's Wick especially. Wick is like one of the fastest models in the game and
Yeah.
can go dig up the ball and then take a shot immediately, at like 10 inches. It's great.
Yeah, and I did find a cute little combo where I was like, I'm going to go with Wick. I'm going to put out Beacon's fire. That way he can go ahead and do a 4-inch dodge, and then I'm going to go up and tackle the ball, and then Beacon's there to able like follow up after it. So that was kind of pretty cool. I did like that
Yep.
little combo.
Yep.
So let's go ahead and kind of get started with the captain with Nightlight. So
Hmm.
I do see like a 4-8 kick. It also looks like it's almost like she's a striker, but
So
also like a support master.
so like the closest comparison, like in terms of like stuff that was official Steamforged Guild Ball, is like I think Nightlight is almost like Honor and almost like Midas,
Yeah.
where you kind of have the back to black where you remove a burning condition from a friendly model and they make a 4-inch dodge. So that's kind of sort of like Honor and Midas doing Lure of Gold or Quick Time. You've got Lens Flare where it increases target numbers for kicks, or sorry, it makes it so that you can't go above kick or above tack. So that's kind of sort of like doing like an Honor crowd out style where it's like, okay, well I have I started in my auras, I took damage, and no, oh hey, Granite came up and now is now supporting and giving you benefits. So Lens Flare is actually a really good tech piece to be sort of like making sure that the output models of your opponent's guild are either going to be not able to wrap as much, or if they or if it's a model where it's like they're holding the ball and they were behind the opponent's team, it's like if you go for a goal run, you're like, I might not be able to give you any penalties, but you're not going to be able to do anything to sort of like make sure that you succeed with like bonus times and
So
any
does
sort
that
of.
prevent you from getting like gang ups as well?
So the wording on the text is if you go down in tack or down in kick, you
Mm-hmm.
can always go up. You can't go over.
Okay.
So like if you're a 4-8 kick and you are engaged by a model and you're making a shot and making a pass, you're going to lose a die because you're engaged. So you're a 3-8. But if you bonus time it, you go up to 4-8. But you can't go to 5-8 if you have a special
Like super
thing
shot or something like
like
that.
super shot or anything else. So yeah, you can never go above your printed
Okay.
stat.
All right, that makes sense. Yeah, because there are a lot of abilities that start adding like +1, +2, +3 dice just off of different abilities. So
Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense.
yeah. It doesn't reduce your kick distance. It just reduces your kick dice.
Okay.
That's also one thing. Um, and then also, one of the abilities that Nightlight has is specifically the relight the fire, where you target a friendly model in 6 inches, and then 3-inch pulse from that model. All models suffer uh, burning. So it's like you can target yourself, and then everyone else is burning around you, friendly or not friendly, and that's when you start turning on your lamplighter abilities.
Yeah, and I definitely like she wants to be on fire because that turns on her what is it, the blinded by the light ability. So
Yes.
reducing tack. And then she also just for whatever reason just makes it where it's like, oh, if one of your friendlies dies, they just blow up and do 3 damage to people. Sounds like a good
Yep.
time.
So yes. So nightlight. Single. 1-inch captain, tack 6, 6, 8 movement. So it's almost like a Midas, and you've got the double dot, you've got the dodge on 1, the double dodge on 3. So you're probably going to sort of you know walk up, bounce off someone, and then if spend an influence, set yourself on fire, take your burning condition off with um, back to black, do a 4-inch dodge, and oh hey, you got a goal kick.
So is she because I could see it going both ways. I don't know if you would want to kick off with Nightlight or do it with Wick, but I could see you doing it with both. I don't know who the better threat is on the ball.
In my games, I was doing it with Wick, because I would be having Nightlight in the back, being like, put the burning condition on someone, shoot them forward, and then set up for turn 2.
Sure.
Um,
So what's an activation with Nightlight generally look like? I mean, is she primarily just like let's put out fire and let's go hunt the balls? Is that kind of what she's doing?
yes, with 1 damage, momentous 1 damage on 2, and momentous 2 damage on 4.
Not doing a lot of damage.
Not like not going to do a lot of damage by herself. Like she definitely does need help with that. Um, but it's like going after like a 4-1 or a 5-0 model, like, and just being like, I'm going to I'm just gonna try to be stripping the ball off you, or I'm just gonna be keeping pace with you and just be engaging you, so that you need to be spending your abilities to disengage and move the ball around. That's most likely what's going to be her. She does have a knockdown on the top of her book, but that's a pipe dream. Like,
Yeah.
don't be
Don't count
trying
on
to shoot.
that.
No.
I kind of like I'm looking at her playbook, which I kind of like how dodgy she is. I'm a little
hmm
surprised she doesn't have like a tackle dodge or something on there, even later in the playbook. Like, especially
I
if she's trying to snatch the ball off
I think they did it. They didn't give her a tackle dodge,
because of back to black.
because back to black,
Okay.
because it can be she can do it on herself, she can do it on a friendly model. So I think they did it. I think they did it in order to like prevent her being too overpowering.
Egregious, yeah.
Yeah,
Just egregiously just taking the ball and dipping out.
yeah. I mean, like also, when she was released, we had one community errata update. So I think everyone trusted the community project to be like, okay, they know if there was a model already in the game, they know what are acceptable tweaks to a model. But
Yeah.
this was sort of like, hey, we are creating a model wholeheartedly. Like this model has not existed in any form in Guild Ball. You know, we need to start somewhere, but we shouldn't start something egregious.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's always easy to kind of like bump things up if you need to. But obviously, if something's too overpowered, it's out there in the
Then you
wild
don't
and you
know
got to.
where to tone it down yet.
Yep. Yeah. So, last thing I kind of want to talk about her before we start looking at the mascot and squatties is like looking at her legendary play, she pulses out, basically gets put on the burning condition, and also does 3 damage to enemy models. So, I mean, is there kind of like a general time you like using that, or is there some sick opportunities that you can really find with Nightlight to really benefit from that?
Usually, what I've done is you have like 1 or 2 models scrumming somewhere, and it's like, and they have to be pulling off their conditions for healing or any sort of special abilities, and it's
Yeah.
like it's the middle of my Nightlight activation. Um, then I pop the legendary so that, oh hey, on my opponent's turn I have more bonuses, and I might have done the incidental 3 damage in order to be like, okay, you either need to spend your momentum to prevent someone from being taken out on a counterattack or do something else. So it's like, your first action is not going to be as safe.
Yeah, I think in the game I played, I used it to kind of finish off a model, put some burning out, and just kind of go from
Yeah.
there.
And so like what I've also done is like, in the middle of Nightlight's activation, did some attacks, did some dodging, but didn't do any movement. Burn the pop the legendary, put the burning, take off your burning, do your 4-inch dodge, and then go shoot on goal.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. It's just, I mean, 4-8 kicks just really good. So I mean, you just generally speaking for people who are kind of newer to Guild Ball, because I know there's a bunch of people coming over from like Malifaux, different games that are now interested in Guild Ball. Anytime you see like a 4-8 kick, that's generally what you want to be doing with that player. I mean, if they have a bunch of dodges, they have a 4-8 kick, you kind of just want to go in swinging with them, try to get the ball, score you a goal. So I think that's definitely what Nightlight wants to be doing. I think the damage, while it is cool, the damage might be kind of like sidetracking you from what she wants to do. So I am also kind of surprised that it is momentous damage on her playbook, because usually you don't see that with strikers.
The community project made it so that they had that Nightlight had the momentous damage because you're going to be doing burning conditions, and if you don't control that correctly, you're gonna burn yourself out with damage at the end of the turn. So I think they gave a momentous damage to make sure that you can consistently keep yourself topped with
Yeah.
healing. So I think that's why they do gave it momentous damage.
Next, we have kind of her mascot with Soot. It's a little owl that, I mean, it's nothing to really write home about when you first look at it, but it's actually a really fast mascot, and it has I Spy, so you can add +2 tack to attacking a model, and it can give itself +2/+2, so it becomes a casual like 7-11 when it's flying around the
Um,
board.
so it's actually even better than that. It's an additional jog. It's an additional jog with +2/+2 movement.
Yeah, that's pretty ridiculous fast.
So with one influence, you go 7 inches and then an additional 5 inches, threatening one. So you go you almost go 13 inches.
So
13 inches threatening
do
14.
you make the jog before the +2/+2 comes into effect?
So no, the jog is the one that gets +2/+2 movement. Your regular movement doesn't get the bonus.
Okay, still a really fast model though.
Yeah.
I think Icarus has this ability or this character play as well.
Yep. Icarus also has this play. Soot did get a glow up because they were trying this ability where any once per turn when an enemy declared a kick, this model would jog towards that model, and then or like when the opposing player places a ball marker after after the current activation or action that placed that ball marker, this model would jog towards that ball, sort of like in season 3 Snow had
Yeah.
an ability called O Ball
Yep.
or Hay Ball. But there was some rule clashing in terms of like, oh hey, during a kickoff or during a
Yeah.
kickoff, like does this model do this extra action, and so they just decided to like take it out, and they were like, yeah, it's not the best for this card.
Yeah, and I also like on Soot having its I Spy, ability on the first column of the playbook. That's really good because you can
Hmm.
kind of just, charge on in there, even just take a random attack and try to get +2 tack on a model.
Yep. And then also Soot has test subject like Nausea and someone else in Alchemist, not Crucible. Um, no, yes, Crucible and Calculus, where they pull any condition, or sorry, they pull Burning or Poison
Yep.
and make a free character play or attack. So it's like you can, if you load up Soot with one influence on your turn, um, starting your turn, you're probably next to any one of your friendlies. So pull the Burning to bank a character play, spend your one influence, do your 7-inch taking flight, walk your 5 inches, and hey, hey, you're within 6 inches. I'm gonna I Spy you for free.
Yep.
So that's a very typical play pattern that I was using with Soot.
Yeah, it seems like Soot's kind of good for being like, oops, I forgot to take this condition off my model. Let me go ahead and clear that real quick to
Hmm.
then get a free character play. So I
Yeah,
like that because that kind of helps clean up some of maybe the clumsiness of like lighting and unlighting yourself.
yeah, and thankfully, they made it so that it's burning or poison, so that
Yeah.
way, you don't have to use momentum to clear your poison, which also gets rid of your burning. Again, the condition management on your
Yeah.
team.
Because a newer player, you might end up taking 3 damage if you forget to clear off certain conditions on your own models.
Yep.
That
Yeah,
can be a
you
little
take
tough for a newer player.
1 damage for burning, 2 damage for poison
Yeah.
at the end of the turn. Yep.
That gets a little dicey. So the next model that I kind of want to look at is Heat. Heat was kind of a weird model for me. I didn't know necessarily how to play this model. Um, like I see I'm open, so I'm like, okay, maybe I want to use this to kind of get the kick game going. She has a 3/8, so she's decent, but she's also pretty squishy, being like a 4/0, and she
Hmm.
caps influence at 3, so you can't give her 4. So I was just wanting to get kind of your thoughts on her and kind of how you've seen her used and how you've used her.
So Heat, I've used in sort of in teams that kind of do middle, like single instance middle damage to top damage, because with Afterglow, you know, if you what you would do is like, oh, the model gets your model gets hit, it takes some damage, maybe like, because they didn't set it up correctly for the first attack, you only had like 3 damage taken, and then on the next attack it's like, oh, but everything else was set up now, and I'm not suffering any bonuses, penalties or bonuses, and now my attack is better. I'm attacking your model. Let's say I'm attacking into Beacon. Beacon is like, okay, well, I've already taken that damage. I'm gonna declare a counter, heal up 2, and then just be like, I'm now withering this attack. So you need to, like,
So that's
hit more.
any time you spend momentum, that model can also heal 2 if they're within 6 of her.
Yes,
Okay.
but heat needs to be on fire. So
Okay.
heat needs to be on fire, and if you spend a momentum inside 6 inches of her, then you get 2 health.
Heat did seem like the model that you always want to keep on fire because that always keeps, unpredictable movement alive on her. Um,
No, no, no.
oh, it's when she's not suffering. Oh,
If
okay.
she's not on fire, she is unpredictable. If
Got
she
it.
is on fire, she gets healing aura.
Yeah, see, this is kind of like the lit, unlit mechanic where I'm just like, man, you really have to get some reps in to kind of understand the balance of like when you need it to be each one.
Yeah. When I was first starting out with Lamplighters, and I think for like my first 30 games, like at least 30 games, Heat was on the bench like the entire time.
Yeah, she
Um,
seems a little tricky to get first off.
yeah. I think the first time I played her was into Fillet Butchers, because because it's like, because the damage was like slow enough that I would be able to like be like, okay, heal now to not get the takeout, or heal now to not get the bleed,
Yeah.
and all those effects. So, and I think I also played her into Theron Hunters.
Yeah, some of that slow bleed type of crew.
Yep.
Gotcha.
But he, like his, like very much so, he is a very difficult model for me, and like more often than not, if I'm not sure on like how would I even do this into my opponent's guild, I'm just like I'm not gonna try to expect like do the processing power and just be like, no, he just goes on the bench.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. Into Smoke Alchemist, I think Heat would be a good model. Very very much so. Sort of like if you're able to, if the damage is being spread out a lot, but it's like sort of like tick damage.
Yeah.
Heat is actually probably when you want to be putting in. Um,
Well, and going against, like you were saying, Alchemist, specifically Smoke, who puts out like a lot of burning and poison, having more models that can be like, yeah, I'm going to remove this poison off me to get an extra effect. Definitely is good. She's one that I think the next time I try Lamplighter, she might not make the cut, just because I was, like I said, I think new with Lamplighter. She's a little tough to kind of get a handle on early on.
yeah, and like her playbook is also very much sort of like really weird because it's like
I'm like,
she's
what
got
am
a
I doing with this playbook, man?
one, tack 5 and then push on 1, non-momentous push dodge on 2, double push on 3, and it's like very much so like, okay, you do heat things, but also you're gonna do your own things. Like it's
Yeah.
very much sort of like you need to like pre-plan with heat.
Yeah, and one model that I did like that I was playing though, Phosphor, I had a ton of fun with Phosphor. This dude putting out the AOE to do condition damage, especially since that's only on two results. Fulcrum, that seemed pretty good too. Poise is never bad, and yeah, just able to also just reduce tack and movement.
Yeah,
Pretty good. I like Phosphor a lot.
yeah. Phosphor is like I think a mandatory pick in Lamplighters. Like that is going to be your damage. Like that is going to be your damage output. The Flashpoint is hard because he needs to be on fire himself,
Yeah,
and he needs to he takes off the fire to do the pulse. So like if he's not on fire and it's like I have one action left, and but I'm engaging a model that is now going to be hitting me back. You might have to hit that model alchemical bomb and place it so that it targets
yeah,
yourself in order, and then you take your 2 damage, you get your burning poison, you spend 1 momentum to heal yourself up, and then you also take off your burning condition to now do your flashpoint. So you might have sacrificed 2 damage on a model further away because this is placing an AOE in order to make sure you target yourself.
yeah. And when you get alchemical bomb on the playbook result. So if I
Mhm.
hit it on the playbook and place it over, let's say 2 or 3 models, do I then have to roll to see if it hits each one, or does it just hit them because I
No,
got it on the playbook?
it hits them all because you got it off the playbook.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I know
Um,
there's some things where it's like if I pay the cost to do it, then I have to roll to see if I hit each model.
yes. But because this is tied to the playbook, if
Gotcha.
you get the playbook results, it
You've
automatically
already
succeeds.
rolled it essentially.
Yes, you already did. One thing to note, especially for newer folks, because this doesn't target, it doesn't get around resilience, so it doesn't pop resilience.
Yeah.
They're still going to take the damage and the conditions for resilience, but it doesn't pop
Which can be
resilience.
good because there's sometimes where it's like, yeah, I just want to do damage to Fangtooth.
Yeah.
All right, and I mean that's that's kind of like, I think that's kind of his sauce, right? I think he wants to
Yep.
put that alchemical bomb out as much as he can, and then flashpoint just to help make it harder to come back into your team.
Yep. If you can have Soot do put the I Spy on someone and get at least one more crowd out from possibly Beacon, possibly Wick, Nightlight, and you can be like, all right, I'm TAC 5 going up to TAC 7, TAC 8 even, and being like, I'm going to be hitting the alchemical bomb twice per attack. Like that's really what you want to be trying to search for, because that's your biggest damage.
But I'm just looking at it, and this is why I don't think you can play like the 2-2 game very well because, I mean, looking at the health pools of the models, I mean, we have like a 14, another 14, Phosphorus 13 hit points. So, I mean, yeah, you got some high defenses, but man, there's not a lot of boxes in this crew until we get to, of course, Beacon.
Yeah.
So, anything else? I don't know. How do you feel about Is it Clumsy? Is that what that ability is? Character trait?
Clumsy,
Yeah.
clumsy. It does help because it's sort of like Mercury. It's Mercury in Calculus Aura, where it's like you enter and you get burning and poison. Like if they want to attack Phosphor, like they're gonna they're gonna go get effects, and then because your other models are like, hey, pull fire from any model in 4 inches, pull fire, pull poison. It's like cool. Like you walking into Phosphor turns on some of my abilities to do a thing afterwards.
The next two models are probably my two favorite out of just the Lamplighters core. And Beacon's easily my favorite. He seems like a souped up tater. Just having mow down on possibly 3-inch reach just seems really good.
I have a love hate relationship with Beacon. He like he is on paper he can do so much, but like after, geez, I don't even want to count how many games I had with him, but like it's over 70. It's over 75 games I've had
Yeah.
with Lamplighters. Beacon is just like he doesn't do so much for me. Again, it could be just skill error, like hey, stupid, you're playing him wrong. But it's just like he's he's 6'8". If he's on fire, he's he's 4'6", and he doesn't have his 3-inch reach.
Yeah.
And it's like like if he's not on fire, he has his 3-inch reach, but he's TAC 6, and it's like yes, he has a knockdown on 2, but then his momentous damage is on 3, and then he doesn't get damage until 6, the top of his playbook. And
Yeah. And when I was playing him, I kind of went in like I did a pretty sick mow down. I think I knocked down like 4 models. So I mean, that felt really good. But I quickly realized that he's not really a damage dealer because like you said, you don't start seeing spiky damage till the last column. So once I figured out that it's like, oh, I'm not really a damage dealer. I'm kind of setting up and stuff. I then went
yeah,
over and stole the ball off whatever the Eagles' name is in the Falconers, and kicked a goal in with Beacon. So I just it's kind of weird because it's like a setup piece, but you don't have. I feel
yeah.
like the crew doesn't have a
As a
lot
setup
of.
piece, he's amazing.
Yeah.
Like he's great. But like if it's the last 2 activations and it's like you need someone dead on the pitch, uh, Beacon, it needs to be Christmas time for Beacon to actually pull it off.
Yeah.
Because it's like he's a 2/4 influence. Like hopefully everyone sort of like rushed into you and you don't have to sprint. So you start his activation. You spend 1 to set himself on fire. You walk your 4 inches with your 2-inch reach. You hit someone. They might have a good counterattack or do or have other shenanigans. So you need to hit the knockdown,
Mhm.
and then you need to do damage. You're probably going to do 1 damage. You're probably going to do 2 damage. Okay, hey, now you got now they're on fire. That means they also lost 1 armor, but you've already used up 2 influence, and now you're trying to hit that top damage on his playbook. So you only have 2 influence left in order to do your maximum of 6 damage, and
Yeah.
hope fingers crossed you wrap at that point.
Yeah, and then I mean, once he kind of because I got in there, I set up, I got a goal, but then after that, he just became a victim and just got knocked down. And then being a 2-1 on the ground, your hitboxes tend to go away very quickly.
I mean, he does have his really cool effect where at the end of his turn he removes burning condition from himself and
Yeah.
dodges 4 inches. Like like I've used that a few times in order to be like, hey, I've walked forward, mowed down everyone, did like 1 damage searing strike on someone, 1 damage searing strike on another person, and then set someone else on fire, which set me on fire, and then end of my turn, I take off fire, back away.
Yep.
So it can work. It can work, but Beacon is your setup model. Don't be trying to shoot for big damage on him.
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
Yeah.
And then the other cool model that I liked was actually Wick. So I mean, 7-9 with 2-inch reach, and Wick just seems like a great scorer.
Wick is a sweetheart. I when one of the first models released one of the first models teased for the Lamplighters Guild was Wick, and everyone who was still in the Discord, talking with the game, like they were just like, okay, Wick is going to be fun. Like you are going to have so much fun just being like, all right, I pull burning at the start of my turn from someone. I immediately make a 4-inch dodge because that's the rule on Wick's card. I walk 7, 2-inch reach, tackle on 1, set myself and my opponent on fire with 2, and then I'm gonna shoot a goal, 4-10 kick, and I ignore crowdouts and I ignore intervening penalties.
Yeah,
So it's like yeah. From the deployment line, Wick can almost always be like, all right, I walk forward, get on fire, tackle the ball, get on fire, pull the fire off, maybe dodge somewhere else, and then just be like, all right, I shoot and goal.
Yeah.
Or sometimes what you even do is you kick with Wick, your first activation, you have Nightlight walk forward to be like between Wick and the rest of your squad, have Nightlight set herself on fire, and then take the burning off Wick to dodge them 4 inches with Nightlight, and then on your turn Wick activates and be like, oh hey, Nightlight is still on fire from setting herself on fire. Pull Nightlight's fire off, dodge another 4 inches, and now I actually start my advance of 9 inches.
Yeah, and
Or 7 inches, 9 inches.
I also like Ring of Fire because because a lot of times you'll kick a goal and then your opponent will kick it out and then they'll go score a goal. And pulsing out the burning really helps prevent some of that kickback. It forces them to use momentum or some other nonsense to kind of deal with the -2 movement.
Yep. Ring of Fire is almost like Shark. Shark's what's his thing?
It's like caught in the nets or something.
Yeah, where it's like caught in the net, where it's like it's not as deep of a penalty, but it's like it's very much sort of like I'm gonna slow you down so you don't go get as far away from me in order on the crackback, because like I had one match back when I was doing my Brewers train where Shark turn 1 ran onto my field after the kickoff, picked up the ball off Hooper or Tapper, dodged a little bit closer to the goal down my deployment line, did the legendary play, made an attack, dodged away, shot the goal, and it's like, oh hey, I'm Brewers. I don't have momentum on turn 1. I actively now cannot pick up the ball, and I cannot move more than 1 inch to engage Shark.
I tell you what, Brewers hate that kind of crap where they're already kind of slow. So anything that
Mhm.
further reduces their movement just makes brewers just miserable.
Mm-hmm.
So looking at the Lamplighters, who are the two models that can play up into alchemists?
So it is phosphor and heat play into alchemists.
So
Um,
do you have any alchemist games? Like, I don't know if you're an alchemist player at all. At all.
I played like maybe 4 or 5 games of Midas alchemists.
Okay.
But it's like, but my local at this point, yes, he is my local because, and also he was also one of my groomsmen at my wedding. Octave down in Southern California runs a YouTube channel, Play It Painted, does
Mhm.
Guild Ball painting live streams. Also had a big collection of Guild Ball battle reports. Um, he he printed off the Lamplighters recently and is trying heat in his usual Midas lineups. And I haven't heard back from him yet, but I think they're actually playing like a actual tournament today in down in Orange County. So
Nice.
I'll wait and hear back from him. But heat definitely is a model that you can have in your Midas Alchemist. Phosphor, I think I saw him like once or twice in a smoke lineup.
Yeah, more
Uh,
conditions.
yeah, and then also I think I've played one Soma Numa game where someone brought Phosphor.
Okay.
Um, but it's definitely possible, and they're both actually pretty great fits.
So the two models that can play down for them are actually Crucible and Mercury, and I actually think Crucible's a pretty cool little pick because I think she does a lot with just conditions that can really help help the Lamplighters a lot. So how do you like using Crucible in a Lamplighter crew?
Crucible almost always makes my roster.
Nice.
Like I think maybe like 85-90% she's going to be in my roster because I keep on trying to play them as a 3-0 guild, and it's like Crucible has a ball strip.
Yep.
Like
That gets around close control.
it gets around close control. Yep, exactly that. And like surprisingly, Crucible, like tack 5, momentous 2 damage on 3, and then burning poison
Yep.
on damage. Like that's a little bit that's a little bit of your damage output. Like you can sort of try to finish someone off if they're like on 3 health.
Yeah, and she also taxes your opponent who's trying to clear these conditions. They have to spend an extra momentum point to do so.
Yes, and of course Crucible can also pull burning and poison from another another model and get stuff for free. So absolutely great model.
And another solid 3-8 kick, because why not?
Exactly. My sort of like appreciation from Crucible definitely comes from Octave playing his Midas list,
Yeah.
and he's like, Crucible is the goal threat. Like while you are worrying about Midas, like Crucible has been able to sneak up the field and eat the ball and score a goal.
Yeah, and then what are you doing with? Are you bringing Mercury a lot? He looks like some more character play kind of damage stuff, which I don't know if you bring that often with the crew.
I tried a little bit. I into ox butchers and into cooks. I definitely did try doing a um, phosphor mercury wick heat nightlight soot lineup. I've
Mhm.
tried that a few times, and it's just like, yeah, we're gonna damage you, we're gonna gun you, we're gonna shoot guns.
Yeah, so I mean that's generally the crew though. So now if I was gonna play, which I don't, like I said, I don't think I will though because this I tend to not play crews like this where there's a lot of mini games necessarily. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I like more like I'm gonna do my thing and I'm gonna kind of win doing my thing. And this has a lot of like little things you kind of got to keep track of. Um, so I mean, the cutest I get is I got order and I'm still trying to figure out that ball of light and how to not lose that to my opponent. But
Yep.
um, But if I was going to play this again, which I probably will because I still don't have my Union stuff in yet, I probably would go ahead and obviously play Nightlight and Soot with Wick, Phosphor. I like. I'd probably still try to keep Beacon in there, and then I'd throw Crucible in there. I think is the next one I would probably try as far as
Yeah.
a squad.
That's kind of been my lineup where it's like Beacon, like I'm gonna do no damage with you. You are explicitly just the hard field control with your mow down
Yeah,
and your knockdown. Like that's explicitly what you're
he's
gonna be
there to
doing.
cause headaches.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, that roster of six, like that's I think what I was rolling when I was doing my Lamplighter games.
So, would you say most games with this crew you're trying to get 3 goals? Is that kind of what you're thinking?
Yeah, yep, getting 3 goals. Um, Wick Wick by themselves can definitely score two, and then you try to just fish it out with Nightlight, the third goal.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think that's kind of what I would do as well. Because, like I said, I tried to do a 2-2, and it almost worked, but those Falconers and those stupid Harrier markers just started killing too many things.
yeah. If the game goes long, like if the game definitely goes to like round five, round six, like you can definitely hit that 2-2 goal or
Yeah.
hit that 2-2 end game just because Phosphor is just like, yeah, here's 8 damage and conditions. Try to deal with that.
Yeah, I could, and like it's that slow tick of just kind of the health pool just kind of going down and down.
Yeah, and again with Phosphor, it's like, oh, because it's an AOE. Hey, it's 8 damage across 2 models, 3 models. Like try to out heal that.
Yeah, and looking at how Lamplighters are kind of compared to other guilds, I mean, where do you think they kind of fit in? Are they kind of more towards the middle of the pack? Are they kind of like towards the top? Like how strong do you think they are as far as a guild goes?
Well, and
Minor guilds are tough to kind of gauge.
it's definitely been I mean, I'm also saying like, okay, hey, my previous year of Lamplighter games are falling off Longshanks, so their win rate is probably going to go up a few points because I historically don't have the best record.
Yeah.
But they're definitely they're not a top guild. They're very much sort of like above the middle, just about to enter the top.
Okay. Yeah, so it
Like
seems
like
like a pretty average crew. You can, and that's kind of what brings me back to Guild Ball, right? Because if you really get your reps with a crew, you can win just as many games as anybody else.
yes,
Especially
you
you
know,
start trying to kick goals, luck of the dice, and are you better at your goal runs than your opponent?
yeah. I mean, like I've definitely had games where I'm playing this 3-0 guild and someone else is playing like a 2-2 guild, and like, oh, like some what my I shot on goal and they were able to bank it back, shoot score me back, and then oh hey, they won initiative, and they went and scored another goal, and it's like, okay, um, you can definitely outfight me. I need to like score back immediately, in order for now to like be like working towards my third goal rather
Yeah.
than being like I score at the end of the turn and then try to make it so that I get the ball first on next turn. And so it's like, oh yeah, we only played 2 rounds, but already someone scored 3 goals.
Yeah, that's why I like the guilds that I picked. So I ended up getting Union and Engineers. So I feel like Union and Engineers are good, like 2-2 kind of guilds. And then
Mm-hmm.
I also got the minor guilds for both of them, which I like their minor guilds because those are pretty much 3-0 kind of teams, right? With the minors
Exactly.
and the order.
When Longshanks had the original purist badges, I
Mhm.
did the Brewers, Masons, Cooks, or and minor purist badges. So I did 4 guilds of like 30 games
Yeah.
consecutively.
Yeah. And I'm definitely happy that we can get stuff again. And just for people that want to try out the Lamplighters, they can actually print their own models or get somebody to print them for them, correct?
Yep, it is because the original. sort of deal with the Kickstarter was, if you're a backer, you're going to you can back enough to just get the STLs, or if you back it, we'll print them out and mail it to you. But then after 6 months, the STLs are going to be released free to everyone. Um, of course, they also stated there is absolutely nothing stopping us from being like, oh, you as an individual person are giving these STLs to another individual person to print off if they weren't a backer. Like, the community project was very much, like, we're not stopping this, but it's just like, if you want to follow these rules, like, this is what we're setting it out. But you are able to do it however you want. So if you want to be just like, I immediately got my STLs and I'm now printing, and I now immediately gave it out to like 5 different other people for them to start printing. It's like, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. And I think even on Longshanks, I see they got a link for somebody that prints out the Lamplighters. So it's definitely good. And all the cards always are online with Guild Ball. So you can just print those out yourself or just use the playbook app that is, it's online now. I don't think it's through the App Store anymore. I think that one's outdated.
Yeah, because I think the thing with the App Store or like the iOS store was basically, the developer couldn't or wasn't able to pay the developing license fee
Yeah.
in order for Google and Apple to take their cut, and he was just like, "Sorry guys, it's expensive,
Yeah.
but I'm putting it online."
Yeah. And it's honestly pretty much the same because I just save the link to my home screen. I just pop it open when I want to go somewhere and play a
Yep.
game.
Yep, exactly. Cards can be printed on Longshanks. Tokens for the Lamplighters or any guild you have can be printed off Longshanks. The STL files are hosted on Longshanks or the Inspiring Hat blog. Um, yeah, like if you're like, I'm not going to give Steamforge any dollar
You don't
money,
have to.
you don't have to. You got the kickoff box and you got Lamplighters. You know that you got 3 teams already. So
Yeah. And I mean, it's one of those things where the next time we have a Guild Ball episode here, I'm going to have Zach from Michigan. And I keep saying what he it really resonated with me, where it's just like, now that we can actually get models, my love for Guild Ball just overshadows any kind of like hate for Steamforged. Um,
mhm.
Even though like I don't resent anything. It's like I'm not holding anything against them. Um, because so
Yeah.
far we'll see what the models look like when they send them off, but so far they've kind of kept to what they said they were going to do with the print on
Mhm.
demand, which I'm hopefully going to be very pleasantly surprised about.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that Steamforge needs to do is, because people don't listen to the entire video about, or read any of the news posts that they were making. It's like they need to, like, come out and say, the again, we'll probably find out in like next week or this week of, like, what is the status of the cards that the community project did.
Yeah.
They need to state that these were legal and official changes done by the team, and as if the community project was Steamforge Games themselves.
Yeah.
And they also need to say, hey, the Lamplighters are official and recognized by Steamforge, and they
Yep.
are for every tournament. So that needs to be said, like, pretty fast, like right now, in order to, because, and they also just need to say, like, hey, we are also going to start working with some producers to be like, you now have a license to create tokens,
Yeah.
because I remember there were a lot of people who were making
Oh
tokens
yeah.
and like extra gubbins for Guild Ball.
Muse on
Um,
minis, people like that. Art of War, I think, made some good ones.
Yep. Art of War, Muse on Minis, Broken Egg
Yep.
Games, Armada Studios, Quali Geeks, um, and then Frozen Forge. Oh man,
Frozen Forge. Those
Frozen Forge
steppers
tokens
were
were
amazing.
yeah. I mean, the Steamforge can't prevent him from making steppers and
Yeah.
rulers, but like those Frozen Forge tokens, like
Yeah,
they
they're
were
legit.
they were real good.
Almost worth the $50 in shipping I had to pay.
Yeah, uh,
Yeah, and I actually talked to the Broken Egg guys at Captain Con because they had a booth there, and
hmm
I actually got the condition tokens from them. I got 6 of each one,
hmm
so I was actually like, I'm like, hey, and I got some 2D terrain from them, and I was kind of trying to like be like, hey, you guys should check this out and kind of pressure Steamforge to maybe let you print some more Guild Ball stuff. So we'll see.
Broken Egg Games. They also have these really cool like they now have them on their shop as class tokens, where it's sort of like just a acrylic slate with like a design, and it's like, oh, it's kind of like got an alchemist bottle on it, or
Yeah,
hey, it's got a mug of beer, and it's like it's a blank acrylic token for you to write your guild effect on it. Those I got maybe like 12 of those, and it's like if anyone needs tokens whenever they're buying stuff off me from my magical cabinet, I'm just like, yeah, sure, I'm also going to throw in these tokens.
yeah, that's something that I've told people too because I have rewritable tokens. I don't have 12. I have like 5 maybe. I
Yeah,
use that for every
I mean,
game.
I have like 12 sets. They come in packs of 10, I think,
Oh,
but I
cool.
have like 12 sets of like the different factions they
Yeah,
have.
they didn't have that at their booth. Otherwise, I would have definitely picked those up.
hmm
So yeah, anything else you want to share, just Guild Ball wise, Lamplighter wise, anything else you want to just kind of mention before we run out of here?
Before we run out, real quick, it's not. I mean, it is official in terms of it's actually happening, but like, is it attached to Steamforge? No, but I and four, maybe six other people at this point, are gonna show up at Adepticon.
Oh, sweet.
This Adepticon, we're gonna have our Guild Ball stuff. If you're there, pack a guild. We'll roll some dice. We'll have some fun. Um,
We have
and
like a
then
little mini unofficial tournament.
we can host it on Longshanks,
There you go.
and then also, if you're in or able to travel to Orange County, down to Anaheim, Comic Quest and the SoCal Guild Ball group, they're doing a historical Guild Ball tournament called Fulmination. Which used to be run at a convention called Kingdom Con down in San
I
Diego.
remember that.
Yep. So that's, I think, May 18th. Yes. May 18th, Saturday. Comic Quest down in Lake Forest, California. Um, if Hot tip: fly to Santa Ana Airport. It's going to be like a 15-minute drive from Ana Airport to the comic store. Also, that airport is like super chill. Like it's a nice tiny
It's
like
no LAX.
it's absolutely no LAX, and you are absolutely nowhere near LAX.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's the biggest things I wanna talk shout out. But also I also want to say, hey, if you're picking up Guild Ball, like you're gonna have some fun.
Oh yeah.
Like this is a game. Don't worry that, oh hey, people I'm playing with have been playing the game since it was dead, before it was dead. Like don't worry. Like we understand like a social contract of like, hey, I'm new, or hey, I haven't played in 4 years. Like
Yeah.
we're not gonna be absolutely mean. Like no,
Well, and that's what I was
we're gonna
telling the
play.
guy I played yesterday. We were, you know, I could have at a certain point in the game just held on to the ball, gotten one more takeout, and then probably scored my goal to win. But just more action, is more fun. So I was just like, I'm going to slam the goal in now, and he might win the game off that, but that's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, a lot of us do understand the social contract of the game of
Yeah,
like, hey, our skill levels are not really equal. Like, we're gonna play and make sure that you have fun,
yeah,
because
yeah.
it's like,
That's just a
you
good gaming group.
if you have fun, you're gonna play more games, and if you
Yeah,
play more games, you're going to be playing more games.
Plus, dude,
And that's what we
how sweet is it just to see these sick models back on the pitch again? It's just, to me, that's the best part of this. Just being like, yeah, these models are just awesome. So I just want to remind people though that if you are coming into Guild Ball, we do have a Discord channel that I'll post the link to in the chat here, and basically just it's got a lot of Malifaux stuff on it, but it has stuff for a bunch of games. So there's a Guild Ball section, which on certain days now the Guild Ball section tends to be a little more active than the Malifaux sometimes. So yeah, that's a lot of fun. And
Yep.
then
And then you can also post the link to the community project Discord, which is the main Discord for Guild Ball now.
Yep, we'll do that too, because they actually have a breakdown of like all the guilds, stuff you can get, questions you can have. And then last thing, if you want to join to support the podcast, because we are putting out Guild Ball content again, you can check us out at patreon.com/RageQuitWire, and we'll start putting up Guild Ball content on the YouTube channel again. So that'll be fun as well. But I want to thank you again for coming on, man. I'm going to go ahead and I guess we're going to throw some dice and throw some salt. We'll see y'all later.